This is Antisha. Hey Antisha, this beautiful girl is the queen of her colony. You probably think Antisha runs this whole place. I mean, she is the queen. You know, she sits near the center, she gives a bunch of orders, and 10,000 workers do what she says. At least, that's how a bunch of cartoons out there portray it. Well, I got news for you, Bubba. The queen isn't a ruler. She's an egg-making baddie. Her whole job is to lay the next generation. And she has almost nothing to do with what the colony actually decides on any given day. In some species, if she starts slowing down, the workers will actually kill her. Oh, Antisha, no! So, if the queen isn't in charge, then who is? Well, nobody. And that's the strange part. I mean, a colony makes decisions every single day, you know, smart ones, life or death ones, and there's no manager. There's no meetings, no ant standing on a pebble shouting instructions. Each ant is wandering around half blind to the bigger picture. Now, a single ant carries a brain that weighs less than a milligram, with somewhere around like 90,000 neurons doing their damn best. 90,000 neurons for ants, and you got about 86 billion, buddy boy. And the colony, as a whole, can find the shortest path to food, decide when to send workers into a desert that could cook them alive, and pick a new home out of several options, and they usually pick the best one. And how do they do this? Well, they don't give orders. I mean, they can't. What they pass back and forth instead is touch and smell. And once you see how that works, you can't really unsee it. It's nuts. All right. Start in the Arizona desert with red harvester ants, studied for years by a biologist named Deborah Gordon.
Yeah, let's go, Deborah!
Every morning, the colony faces a gamble. Send ants out for seeds, and they lose precious water to the dry air, or keep them home, and nobody eats. Out there, water is survival, and a bad call drains the whole colony. Here's how one ant decides whether to risk it. She waits just inside the entrance, and she won't leave until enough returning foragers have pushed past her and brushed her with their antenna. Every ant coming back with a seed is proof there's food out there worth the walk. The faster the seeds stream in, the more food must be waiting, so she heads out. If they trickle back slowly, she'll probably stay put and save the water. Nobody counted the seeds, nobody announced, "Today's a good day." The colony's entire foraging effort rises and falls on thousands of tiny antenna tippy taps around a hole in the ground. The message isn't anything one ant says to another, it's just how often they bump into each other. The rhythm of it all is the signal. Alright, but a tap on the antenna only tells an ant to go or stay. I mean, that's a coin flip. How does a colony handle a real choice with more than one option and still land on the right one? Researchers ran an experiment with a colony of Argentine ants. These guys find their way around almost entirely by scent. So we got a little bridge that splits into two branches, one short, one long, both leading to the same exact food. And every ant that's walking around is leaving an invisible scent trail behind it. Okay, now we follow it. An ant who happens to take the short branch reaches the food and gets home faster simply because her route is shorter. So the short branch picks up a second coat of scent sooner. More scent pulls in more ants, baby. Those ants add even more scent. Within minutes, the whole colony is pouring down the short path, and not one of them ever measured a thing. The best route wasn't chosen by anybody, it just got reinforced the fastest. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Hey, that's pretty juicy. But the most jaw-dropping decision an ant colony makes isn't about a snack, okay? It's about real estate, and they handle it like a tiny little democracy. Meet a rock ant, Temnothorax, a species so small, the entire colony fits inside a crack in a stone. Now, picture that home getting crushed. They're suddenly homeless and exposed and moving into a bad crack, you know, too bright, too cramped, a doorway any spider could probably stroll through. That could end them. They have to choose a new house, and they have to choose fast. A handful of scouts go set off to look. One finds a promising crack and inspects it like a picky buyer getting a house. You know, checking how high the ceiling is, how wide the entrance is, how dark it stays inside. The better the site, the less the time she waits before heading home to fetch help. Quality becomes a countdown. Good house, short wait. Poopy house, long wait. Then she does something that stopped scientists cold. She grabs one nestmate and walks her to the new site, step by step, in what's called a tandem run. The leader moves slowly. The follower keeps stopping to look around and to memorize landmarks. And when she's ready, she taps the leader on the back to say, hey, we can keep going now. If the gap between them grows, the leader slows down to wait. If it shrinks, she speeds up. In 2006, two researchers at Bristol, Nigel Franks and Tom Richardson, realized they caught the first animal ever doing what scientists strictly count as teaching, changing your own behavior at a cost to yourself to help a clueless learner get there faster, with the lesson running both ways. And the first animal we ever caught doing it wasn't a chimp or a dolphin, it was an ant. They found that if you pluck the follower away and tap the leader with a fine hair about twice a second, the leader keeps walking, like a teacher waiting on a pupil who's still there. And the leader pays for this. She could have reached the site about 4 times faster if she'd have just gone. So why teach? Because the student becomes a teacher too. One ant shows 2, 2 shows 4, and the route spreads through the entire colony. But tandem running is slow. One ant leading one ant over and over. If that were the whole shebang, I mean, moving houses would take all day. So how do hundreds of ants suddenly agree all at once and commit to that agreement? The ants never tally votes. Each one simply keeps a rough count on how many nestmates she's running into at the new place. And when that crowd gets thick enough, when she's bumping into others faster than a certain threshold, a switch flips in her beautifully, breathtaking, perfectly shaped head. She drops the slow teaching. She starts snatching up nestmates and physically carrying them to the new home, which is about 3 times faster than leading them. And now the whole thing turns into a cuckoo crazy avalanche. The best crack filled up first because more scouts liked it and rushed back sooner. The decision was never made by a single ant. It was basically made by a crowd crossing a tipping point. And there's a catch, found by Stephen Pratt and Takeo Sasaki. Right up until that quorum, the colony can still change its mind and swing to a better option. But the moment they start carrying, they commit and stop checking. Okay. Let's step back and take a look at what just happened. No ant knew the plan, and no ant compared options side by side. Every one of them followed a rule as simple as, hey, if I bump into enough friends, I'll switch what I'm doing. And out of thousands of those tiny rules, a choice emerged that's pretty gosh dang smart for 90,000 neurons. Here's the part that should stick with you. Your own brain pulls the exact same trick. No single neuron in your skull knows your name or your plans or that you're watching this super sweet video right now. Each one just fires when enough of its neighbors fire, and out of 86 billion of them nudging each other across thresholds comes the entire feeling and being of you. Whoa, bro. So an ant colony is pretty much a brain that just walked outside and split into 1,000 freaking pieces. So the next time you see a line of ants crossing the sidewalk, no, you're not just watching a bunch of little guys play follow the leader. There is no leader. You're just watching a really small part of a really big brain.